Upon I call the June 4th, 8 o'clock agenda briefing to order. 9, I call the meeting to order. Invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance is by Commissioner Hardison. We'll have the approval of the minutes. And then discussion or just any adjustments yet? No, sir. All right. Then we'll go to our special presentations. The presentation of the June Wayne County Hero Spotlight Award by Jay's Kitchen. Jay will be here for that. Next on the agenda is the motion to approve the 2024 Juneteenth National Freedom Day as presented by Commissioner Antonio Williams. You got that? Number 5, motion to approve the 2024 Men's Health Week in Wayne County as presented by Commissioner Foster, and he'll be here at the 9 o'clock meeting. Next on the list is a presentation by Ashley Carnegie with Rebuilding Broken Lives. Next would be, we have some appointments, correct?
Yes.
We've got a public hearing at 9:30 to receive public comments on proposed budget for Wayne County for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2024. And the board can choose to take action on that after the public hearing.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
and I asked, were there any changes that you were going to recommend at that time?
The things that we looked into that you asked us at our budget workshop, we followed up on, and what changes.
So
You
there'll
want
be
to
an,
detail those for them.
We do have a corrected budget ordinance.
Oh, okay, great. Can we have those? Thank you.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
yes, please, thank you.
And what were the changes that took place?
Ann can answer that.
At our budget retreat, we were asked to look into several revenue line items.
Yeah.
For the fire department, we reduced those down, only going up one.
Go up, Ann, go up here and, so everybody can hear.
You all requested for the fire departments that requested increases, that they only go up no more than 1 cent, so I adjusted all of those.
Okay. That's kind of been the gentleman's agreement per se for years, so.
Right. That was, as far as money goes, that was all that there was.
We were asked to look at permitting fees.
Yes, I did email out to everybody to review their fees. No one really, some of them added more fees, but there was no real increases, not as of yet. Because some of them had to go to their advisory boards before formally presenting.
Well, we are, actually, after the public hearing, we are actually going to vote on this budget. So at that point, then they can review it and make recommendations at our next budget.
And we can,
Say that again
You can
now.
also alter fees after the budget is
Oh,
adopted.
you can, okay.
Yes.
By doing a budget amendment to expect change
okay.
revenues.
Okay.
But some of them do need to go back to their advisory boards to be.
I know
approved.
Animal Control was looking at one, their adoptions. They compared it to other counties, but he needed to talk to his board. Health Department, the migrant workers camps, when they inspect, the environmental health inspects them, they don't charge anything. So he's looking at adding that charge, but again, that has to go in front of their board. And those were the two main ones. as of
Building
right now.
inspections, planning.
They didn't add anything or increase anything as of yet. But we can always do a budget amendment later on and offset the expenses with the revenues.
So on the migrant camp thing, do we inspect those, but the federal government does too, right? Don't they have to be like a
I'm
federal?
not sure. Environmental health inspection.
Okay, okay.
I mean, as far as any revenues on permitting, you're probably not looking at anything earth-shattering revenue-wise.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we can adjust those as we get any.
Yeah, I have asked them to please compare it to surrounding counties, compatible counties, and then get back with me. I asked for it last week. Some of them got back with me and some of them are still looking at them. I'll keep pushing.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes. They keep seeing that red denied thing from you.
The
Yes,
other
sir.
items that you had asked us to look into, one was the SRO grant. So we've been in communications with the schools to see, that funding has been the same for several years. So in communications with them, they are actually applying for the 24-25 funding now. So we won't know exactly what that will be, but in the budget, we have projected that they will receive the same amount that they have received for the past few years.
Well, the legislature's put a large amount of money toward that, if I'm not mistaken, for some reason. And I don't remember what that was for. That's been a couple of years ago. Did they put some, do y'all remember that? I mean, the money that the state legislature put
I
together?
remember that, but I mean, we don't have any clarifications.
Right. I was just wondering what the money was put towards. I mean, I
And
would
it may
think.
be just as simple as they have to apply for it, you know, so.
Well, I
They just
thought it
review
was, I thought it was dealing with these grants that that the school system's good, but they put up a large amount of money. I
It
mean,
was.
you know,
They increased it.
millions. So, okay. So we can
Just
check in
ask them
that.
if they would review it and see whether or not they need to update their grant, their
Okay.
request.
I sure will. You also asked
By
why.
$1 million, by the way.
Say that again, I'm sorry.
By $1 million.
Oh, okay. You had asked me to look into the lottery funding, why we had a decrease in the amount from 1.4 million to 1.2 million. This is the amount that is used to go towards the debt service payment for Meadow Lane. When I looked into that, it is just a decrease in the receipts. Currently, the amount that is in that fund for us to pull down is $831,000. So I'm hoping we will meet the budget for 23-24. That's why I dropped the projection for next year to 1.2. You also asked about the balance on the sewer fund, the sewer loan that is. That sewer loan is part of our 2017 LOBS borrowing. So that borrowing will come due in 2037. And the amount due on that loan for the sewer piece only is 1.9 million. And we did,
Is that principal and interest, or is that the whole?
that is the principal.
Okay.
And what, the 1.9 was for,
The sewer part, the sewer loan, the sewer piece of the LOBS. Now, the 2017 LOBS, that was for the Maxwell Center, the Fiber Loop project, the Sheriff's Office software, Meadow Lane Elementary, Southern Wayne, their gym and classrooms, the school gymnasiums and HVAC systems, Canterbury, and Grantham Elementary sewer.
How much did I say we borrowed for the Southern Wayne project? I know it went over, if I'm not mistaken, what the
there's a project that kind of grew.
yeah. So
It looks like about 4.1. That is your principal, only portion of that.
was that the whole total cost of the project? Was that?
I
it
would
won't-
rather say I'll get back to you on
Andrew's
that.
saying no.
Yeah, it was more. I think it was around
The
5.
Southern Wayne gym and classrooms,
Yeah. Okay.
the
I just-
amortization schedule says 4.1.
Right. I got you. Okay.
But,
All right. That'll work. Thank you.
the other question you had was on the Q scabs. You were asking about the interest. Would that come back to us, or would that stay with the loan? That is a very low interest rate that we're earning on that. So I project that by the end of the loan, which is in about, I think, 2 more years on that, we will only have accrued about $7,800.
That is really.
So it's kind of insignificant. So I did not go any further with that to find out.
Well, if I'm understanding, we're not making the payments on the principal.
That's-
All we're doing is just setting it aside in a
is
separate
right.
fund. Well, then we need to, can we not renegotiate in regards to the interest that we would earn
I
for
can
the next 2
certainly
years?
ask Davenport to look into that for us.
Is that tied to the, don't we have an interest on the loan though?
It's in a totally separate, it is not
Not
in
tied
our
to it?
account.
Okay.
It is in our account. It's in a separate bank account than what we track all of our other.
But what I'm saying
Yeah.
is the interest that we've got on that loan, is it tied to what we can pull interest off of the principal? I mean, off the, what's in the bank or not?
Restate that.
Okay, we got interest on the money. On, that we're paying. Is that loan tied to how much interest we can pull for us making? Because you said we're making $700-800 on it at the end of the.
By the end, it
So what I'm saying,
wasn't a
is that
lot.
tied together?
I feel like, yes, they are tied
So
together.
Reese, what I'm
but-
asking is, we might need to kind of be careful how we try to renegotiate, because it might come back and cost us money in the long run.
The Q-SCAB loans are not even offered anymore. So it was a very unique borrowing tool from what I can glean so far. I can get with Davenport and ask them, but I know that account has specific regulations to it. But I can get them to dive into it more if you'd like for me to.
That's all I ask.
It was when Washington was trying to do away with the low interest rates that you were paying. When we got into it, when the government has shut down, we've had to pay something that we did not anticipate having to pay when we got it.
Okay, yeah, I just want to make sure that we're getting all the interest that we can.
Absolutely. Me too. Would you like me to go through the differences in, some of the differences in like the CIP and the budget? So one item that you will be voting on later is the inmate health contract, which came with a pretty significant increase. So in order to be able to fund that increase, we are coming to you with a suggestion of adjusting our CIP by about $500,000 to fund this contract for next year. Andrew had a great idea for part of the $500,000 to use the opioid funding. So $160,000 of the opioid funding will help with that contract, as well as $45,000 that the sheriff had put in his proposal. The other part that we were going to use to help fund the increase in that contract is our property and liability insurance came in lower than we had originally budgeted for. So we're using $100,000 of that budget to help fund the inmate health.
So that's 305,000 so far.
So we started with 515. We're going to use 300 from the Gambelli building. That's the part of the CIP that we adjusted, because that was at 2 million. So 300 is coming from that. 100,000 is coming from the insurance renewal. And then we also had the 45,000 from the contract with the sheriff for opioid. And so that leaves roughly 60 or 55,000. So we feel like that will be manageable. Is that all? I know I was throwing a lot of,
That sounds good.
so that's probably the most significant change since we presented the budget to you.
515, 300, 215, 100, 100, I mean, 300, and then 100 from the insurance, or 45 from opioid. Right.
And then, the other item to that too is we're withholding payments from our current contract.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Of 100.
Okay, so we're in the good.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. All right.
Could, Mr. Chairman, one quick question, and that is on the opioid dollars. Andrew, I assume you've maxed that out in regards to what we can use for inmate.
So we have what we did, and it's on the, for new business, but I can go ahead and explain it now. So when we went back and negotiated with the provider, we had two offers, or two proposals, so we went back at the board's instruction and negotiated with the recommended provider. And I asked them to break up their services into what I call regular general services, and then also medically assisted treatment, or MAT, and that's part of the sheriff's substance misuse program. So that the nurses, as it stands now, our provider, they provide MAT services, so they distribute the opioid-related, withdrawal medication, everything like that. Since that service was going to be provided as part of this contract, I asked them to break out the cost of that so we can pay with that portion for opioid-related funds. So that amounted to about $160,000. And what that gives us is 40 hours a week with one nurse. Basically what we're getting now, but I asked them to break that out so we can use some of those opioid funds. Now, this wasn't part of the request for applications. We're still working on those. Those have to come in, and your working group is working on those. But given kind of the unexpected nature of this expense, we tried to be creative and go ahead and utilize these opioid funds. There's still a significant amount that we can use, so this is a very small portion. So we use that to pay part of that contract. And then the medical expenses for the actual prescriptions, we went ahead and broke that out as well. So that was about $45,000. So out of this contract, yes, we maximized as much as we could with those opioid funds.
Yeah.
To try to save you all some room in your budget for other things.
And all that criteria will be before the opioid, board, I say duck board, but whatever.
The working group?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're working on the applications right now. There's a handful of those that they're scoring, and we're gonna bring those awards back to you. But as part of the MOA, the NC MOA, you actually have to pass a formal resolution allocating those funds, and that's item number 23 in new business. So we'll do that as part of that as well.
All righty, any other questions? All right, thank you. Let's go to budget amendments.
Budget amendments.
All right, budget amendment number 517. This is for animal services. This is to reallocate their budget to cover medical supplies for the remainder of the year in the amount of $9,500. Budget amendment number 518 for the Jetport. This is to anticipate additional revenues for their avgas and jet fuel sales, and to allocate or anticipate additional purchase of fuel for the remainder of the year.
The remainder of the year being June 30, right?
Correct.
Got it.
Fast approaching. Number 519 is for the sheriff's office. So the sheriff's office is reallocating their line items to cover salaries for the remainder of the year. On this particular budget amendment, we have combined all of his divisions, the sheriff's office, which is 4310, the SROs, which is 4318, separation allowance, which is 4390. So he's reallocating his, some of his salaries and salary line items and fuel to, for the remainder of the year to cover those salaries and fringes.
All right.
Number 520 is for the detention center. This is to reallocate funds to cover overtime and part-time for the remainder of the year. Budget amendment number 521. This is for tax. This is to reallocate funds to cover their credit card fees. So currently, the vehicle taxes, the county has been paying for those credit card fees, but effective July 1st, the state is changing this, and they will charge the credit card fees to the customer. Currently, property tax fees are paid by the customer.
Let me hear that again. You're saying currently, the county pays the fees?
For the vehicle taxes, and they're changing that effective July 1.
To where the customers are pay a convenience fee?
That is correct.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Number 525 is for the sheriff's office. This is a budget amendment which is receiving or allocating funds received for 2 separate accidents and for a total of $626.40. Our insurance company reimbursed us, but they are subrogating against the at-fault parties. Number 527. This is to reallocate funds to pay the county's portion of the improvements to the entrance road to the Maxwell Center and Homewood Suites. This was an agreement that we had with the city. The city would pay no more than $50,000, and the county would pay the remainder. So our remainder is $62,500.
Don't say it.
We gotta negotiate better with the city. Why would we put a limit that for the city would not pay any more than that? They ought to pay half.
Well, the whole thing was supposed to
The
be
whole
around
thing should have
93.
been our, I mean, in order to get approval for the hotel site plan, had to be changes made to the entrances and.
Which was
whole cost
ridiculous
could
to
have been-
start off with.
Exactly.
I mean, the whole thing was ridiculous to start off with.
Well, it's
Don't
kinda-
disagree, but,
Yeah, but
that, it is what it is.
Yeah.
The whole cost could have been ours. The city did agree to pay up to $50,000.
All right,
But I mean, it shows in the next slide that it was supposed to have been around 93 or 98 or something.
Right.
And it ended, well, maybe it don't, but anyway, it's,
Ended up being more.
yeah, 100.
Ended up more.
I just don't know what we accomplished by spending that money to realign that entrance.
Well, it's actually gonna flow better than the way it was curved in, but, I mean, I'm not saying I agreed with it, but I mean, it is what it is, like Chip said. Roll on to the next one. Roll.
Budget amendment number 528, this is for soil and water conservation. This is to anticipate rental income that has been received to date and will be received by the end of the fiscal year. This is to also appropriate 30% match. This is a grant that they have received to purchase a 6-foot no-till grain drill. And the grant is coming from the North Carolina Foundation for Soil and Water.
All right.
And the last budget amendment is number 529. This is the Health Department. This is to reallocate grant funds for the Minorities Diabetes Prevention Program, which is being used to pay for the Pitt County contract we have with them.
That it?
That is all.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, number 9 on our agenda, establish a Board of Adjustments public hearing on July 16th, 2024 at 9:30 for setback variance request for property identified as tax parcel 268-149-6516 and 268-149-6404 located at the corner of Little River Drive and NC 581 North. Barry, you want to explain that, please? Actually, you got several to go over.
All right, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, this is a variance request. As mentioned, they are requesting a variance off of 581 or Highway 581 they have an accessory structure they want to add on towards 581, so it does bring it within that setback area. So the variance they're requesting is 25 feet. So with that said, we are just at this point asking for a public hearing. At your July meeting, I think your meeting in July will be the third week in July. So we're just asking that you hold a public hearing then so we can advertise and notify property owners and so forth.
All right, any questions on that?
Yeah, I'm not quite understanding what they're asking for. In other words, it's a 35-foot setback, and they want to go to 25.
Well, it's, the required setback is 60 feet.
60 feet.
Oh, okay.
And so they're wanting to build 35 feet off of that road instead of 60 feet. So there's 25 feet they're asking for. They're asking for an additional 25 feet. To be 25 feet closer to the road than what typically would be allowed.
And that's that for 581 or the Little River Drive?
581.
And
And they
what are
already-
they building?
There's an existing storage building that sits 60 feet, so it's at the setback, and they're wanting to build a lean-to or to add to the side of it.
You want to
so
bring
they
it
can
up on the thing?
Park a vehicle underneath it.
Bring it up on the screen so they can see what you're talking about. Can you do that? Or not?
Well, I've got the map here.
They basically had already started, hadn't they, Barry?
It was already
Right.
there.
Yeah.
They did start that, and an inspector saw it and notified them that they needed to get permits before they continued.
But this is just to, they've asked for a variance, so we really want to do a public hearing. So that's what they're asking for, public. We're not, we're
Check
just,
the area map, Joe.
Not really a board of
Go.
adjustments.
The area map is number 40.
yeah.
Well, so they already had a storage building. See, I'm not seeing
The building itself, you see that white piece down on the
on the
back?
very about bottom.
Yeah, that is a building, and then there's a concrete pad to the left of it. Is that right, Barry?
That's right.
Or toward 581?
Yeah.
Right there, yeah. Yep, there's a concrete pad right there. But they're encroaching closer to 581. Well, we're not actually yay or nay on this, we're just granting them a public hearing, correct?
Right, at this point.
And then we'll act on that at a later date.
Yep.
Got it?
I do.
Okay.
I'm good.
All right, move on to the next one. Number 10, the final plat for Drake Estates.
All right. The subdivision plat that we have four. This one is a final plat, Drake Estates Section 5, which is 22 lots. This is out on, it's off of Highway 13 South. It kind of backs up to 13 South, right near Sand Hill Road. You kind of go back on Sand Hill and then back on Ridge Drive to get back in there. But anyway, it is Drake Estates Section 5 with 22 lots. Their average lot size is 19,700 square feet. Since this is a final plat, all the improvements are in, the roads are complete, and so we do have a built to standards letter from DOT on this one, and the planning board does recommend approval.
Are any questions on Drake Estates Section 5? I'll move on to number 11, the final plat for Southern Property Brokers subdivision.
All right. Southern Property Brokers this is also a final plat. These are roadfront lots. There's 6 lots on Stony Creek Church Road. It's right near the intersection of Dawpate Road. There are already a few lots nearby, so you might have seen some homes being built nearby where they did some minor subdivisions. But this one is a major, so it required board approval. They do have, or they are required by DOT. DOT's reviewed it, so DOT has required shared driveways for these, which tends to be pretty normal nowadays, especially on a road like Stony Creek Church Road. Their average lot size is 38,254 square feet, and the planning board recommends approval.
Any questions? All right, move on to number 12, approval final plat for Finlock Chase, Section 4.
All righty, this is our third one. This is last phase, actually. Section 4 is the last phase of Finlock Chase. So this finishes out this subdivision. There are 26 lots, and this one is, of course, out on Governor Aycock Road. If you're familiar with that area, you've seen the previous phases that have been built up towards the front. This is kind of back or towards the back and to the side, and it does finish it out. With this, all the improvements are in as well, so the roads are built. We do have a built to standards letter from DOT, and the planning board does recommend approval of this one as well.
All right, any questions? Move on to number 13, final plat for Creek's Edge, Section 4.
All right, this is your last subdivision today for Creek's Edge, Section 4, 19 lots is what they have on Antioch Road. This is just north of Big Daddy's Road. So if you're familiar with Musgraves Crossroad where Antioch Church is, this is just north of there, going back towards Highway 111. The average lot size is 17,927 square feet. With this as well, since it is a final, all the improvements are in, so the roads are constructed. And we do have a built to standards letter from DOT. And again, with this one, planning board does recommend approval.
Any questions? All right, thank you, sir. The next thing is to establish a public hearing on July 16th, 24 at 9:30 to receive public comment of an amendment to Section 70-105, subclass 4 of the Wayne County subdivision ordinance to require a fire hydrant to be placed at the entrance of all new subdivisions. All right, you want to explain?
Yeah, this is, again, we're just asking for a public hearing in July, that you hold a public hearing. But our current ordinance does require, it already requires fire hydrants within subdivisions. It requires that they be within 500 feet of every lot. However, we have seen where most subdivisions, well, those fire hydrants will start when they're in the subdivision. So you drive 500 feet within the subdivision, then you get to the first hydrant. What the concern is with emergency vehicles or fire response is that if the house at the front is on fire or a house at the front, you drive past that house to get to the hydrant. You might have to turn around. But anyway, the thought is that if there's a hydrant at the road, at the interstate, that's where the first one starts, it would provide better fire response in the event that those homes were to catch on fire. So what the planning board is recommending is that first hydrant start at the intersection of the main road, and then your 500 feet starts at that point. So it's just a matter of placement of those fire hydrants. That first fire hydrant is what this does in order to provide that improved response.
Did you change to make sure it's on the right-hand side?
Yes,
Okay.
we did include that. So the wording is, a fire hydrant shall be installed on the right-hand side of the ingress at the intersection of the existing state road and the subdivision street.
Got it.
What if there's already an existing fire hydrant in the front of the subdivision 50 foot away? So is there an exception?
Yeah, I mean, in those cases, I think in those cases, we would probably send those to our fire marshal's office to look at. And if it's appropriate, if it's within reasonable distance where a fire hydrant can access it easily, those would probably work fine. Now, if it's 500 feet or 1,000 feet away, it probably wouldn't.
Sure.
But, if it's within nearby distance where it could be easily accessed. But we would look at those case by case if there was one like that.
Any other questions? All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to number 15, motion to approve a tax refund to Flying Pigs LLC for $9,082.38.
Did they fly away?
Well, I think they paid it to the wrong county, I think is what happened.
Alan was here at 9:00, but he explained it to me that that was listed in Wayne County, and then they moved to Duplin, and they ended up paying Wayne when they should have.
Oh, this is the airplane.
That is correct.
This is an airplane, this, yeah.
Okay.
This is the, so does it stay here?
No, we have to give the money back. They paid
No, I ain't
Wayne.
talking about the money, I'm talking about the plane. Is the
No,
plane here, or the
ha-
plane is in
The
Duplin?
plane is in Duplin.
Okay, got it, all right. All right, number 16. Motion to establish a public hearing on June 18th, 2024 at 9:30 a.m. in the Commissioner Meeting Room in the Wayne County Courthouse Annex at 224 East Walnut Street, Goldsboro, NC, to receive public comment regarding economic incentive grant and sale of 28.03 acres located at 505 Gateway Drive, Goldsboro, NC, for Project Blend.
Yeah, so this is the last step. We've been working on Project Blend for quite some time. A precursor to this was the Economic Development Agreement, the interlocal agreement that you all passed with the city regarding some annexation provisions, along with inspections and things along that nature. So we're ready to move forward with the approval. So what we're asking for is for you to set a public hearing at your next meeting. There's three parts of this. So one would be the sale of the property, 28.03 acres at $40,000 an acre. That's one. The second part would be the economic incentives that are based off job creation and capital improvements. And then the third piece of this would be deeding a portion of Lot 7, which adjoins Lot 9, to North Carolina Railroad. And North Carolina Railroad would then construct the spur to Lot 9. So those are the three parts of it, and we're ready to move forward with it. And the company, met with the company last week. They're very excited to move forward, and I think they'll have some representatives here at the public
Okay.
hearing, so.
Can't imagine it.
And we also are reserving a portion of Lot 9 for future expansion to the adjoining property if future development needs expansion of that rail.
All right, any questions? All right, let's see here. Next would be motion to approve a joint resolution between the Wayne County Board of Commissioners and the Wayne County Board of Education committing $7 million in state capital and infrastructure grant funding for Wayne County Public School capital projects.
And this is something that we've been working with the school system on. In the most recent budget, Wayne County was awarded a $7 million SCIF grant. And that's state capital and infrastructure grant funding. So the direction from our local delegation was that some of this needed to be, not all of it would go to Rosewood Middle. So we're having $750,000 would go to Rosewood High School for track improvements, another $750 to Southern Wayne for track improvements, $175 to Charles B. Aycock for their concession stand, and then the rest would go towards the Rosewood Middle School project. So this has already been approved by the state, and these numbers are what we got from the school system. So,
Any questions?
And those allocations were established by the school board or by the legislature?
I think both. I think in conjunction. Those were the numbers that we received. So we got the grant, and we were told how to appropriate the grant.
Okay, good enough.
How much did you say was going toward the Rosewood School?
$750. And my understanding is those projects have not been bid out, but this is the established budget for them.
And how many tracks are getting repaired?
Two, so Rosewood High School and Southern Wayne High School, and then Charles B. Aycock is their concession stand.
And have you got the figure of the remaining amount that's gonna be to Rosewood School?
5.3, yeah, 5.325.
Okay.
So that brings the total of a little over 25 million that we have.
So let me ask you a question. Who comes up with the additional dollars like on the tracks? I think that was a stab in the air, what I understand.
I think that there was some donor, some booster funding, but I'm not privy to a
Okay.
lot of that information, but.
Oh, so if the bid comes in way north of what they estimated, who's on the hook for the rest is what I'm asking.
I think that's to be determined.
Okay. All right,
I know there was some, a track in Goldsboro that people have been advocating for quite some time, and, we haven't seen any movement on that.
Is that the Carver?
Is that the Carver, Mr. Foster?
Yes.
Yeah, so we definitely need to see if we can see if we can get some funding over there.
I know that there was some discussions about that. It's been a little while,
Is that-
but I
Bill, is
know
that
there's
one
some
we went
discussions
at?
with us and then
That's
also the
yeah.
city, but,
There's some discussion on that
yeah.
outside of this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to number 18, motion to adopt resolution 2024-14, a resolution granting authorization to Wetzel Pyrotechnics to discharge pyrotechnics in the town of Seven Springs on July 6th. So you'll get 2 chances to see fireworks the week before and the
Yep.
week after. I think the first time's in Pikeville.
Yeah.
And then the second time's in Seven Springs. All right, the number 19, motion to approve a 3-year audit contract with none but Sure to Zale for the years ending June 30, 24, June 30, 25, and June 30, 26. Number 20 is a motion to approve Health Department fee approval request for IGRA testing. Ginger and Suzanne, please. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So we're requesting with our recent influx of the Haitian population that we have in Wayne County, and part of the immigration process, particularly our Haitian immigrant population, are required to do, it's interferon gamma assays testing, which is a blood test. And as you know, we normally do a skin test for tuberculosis, and then if we have a positive, we go into a chest x-ray. What's happening is the CDC and the state are now recommending that we do this blood test because our Haitian population, the goal in Haiti was for all people to have inoculations for it. But what's happening is it makes an automatic positive test. So this test gets rid of the chest x-ray and allows us to go directly to the blood test, which alleviates us from having to do other visits and other testing. So it's really a good thing and it's a cost saver for us. We do not have a fee in place for this, so we benchmark against surrounding counties and what they're doing, and other health directors are instituting fees for this. So this would allow us to generate revenue from this test. It is a requirement. We haven't outpriced ourselves because we don't want to discourage people from getting this because of the health of the community. We don't want active TB out there. So we're coming before you today to ask your approval for us to be able to begin to charge for this. Just to give you an idea, we did 38 alone in the month of March. So that will show you what that potential revenue would have been for us during that time.
Do we have an issue with TV?
No, sir. What I wanted to do to make sure, because I know there were some questions, I looked up before I left last night. We have 7 active TB cases in Wayne County, and that is normal. The most that we've had in the past 5 years has been 10 at the time. So these 7 individuals, we're following them. They range in ages from 43 to 77 years of age. 3 are American, 2 Haitian, 1 Hispanic, and 1 Asian. These are active cases that my nurse follows. We have to watch them daily take their meds. And then we have to make sure that they're isolating in isolation. And if they don't, we've had to seek out to pursue that. And the health director has the authority to work to make sure that they're doing that. But we have 7. We do not have a crisis. We're not seeing any crazy trends. That is very normal for us here.
Well, I just wanted that to be clear, because that's the question.
Yes,
we
sir.
had, so. All right, does anybody else got any questions?
Yes, Mr. Chair. So what kind of fees are we anticipating?
We're, I think we put before 75 was what we put ahead, and that's really, that is going to cover the lab testing that we have to do, and so people that are on Medicaid or insurance, we can bill for that, and then the folks that are not, that are self-pay, will be paying that out of pocket.
And $75?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir, thank you.
All right, since Alan finally got out of bed, come on up here. I'm messing. I'm messing. Talk to us about Flying Pigs
Okay,
LLC.
Flying Pigs, yes, sir. They owned an airplane that was stationed in Mount Olive Airport, and they put it there during 2020. It was there for 21 and 22. They listed and paid taxes here in Wayne County. During late 22, it was moved to Duplin County, and it was listed in error for 23 because it was not there January 1st, 2023, but it was listed here in Wayne County plus Duplin County. Plus, both bills were paid. So that's why we're having to refund our portion, because it's no longer in Wayne County as of January 1st, 2023. And that $9,000 represents part of its Mount Olive tax, part of its Wayne County tax. That's the full amount that you're looking at.
I got you. So we're getting their part from Mount Olive back, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That's
Any,
correct. So
any
that-
questions?
Airplane's no longer in Wayne County,
Yeah.
it's gone to Duplin County.
Any questions?
Nope.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Alan.
And I'm just messing about him just getting that. All right, moving on to new business, the motion to approve a letter indicating Wayne County's intent to enter into an intergovernmental support agreement with Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. They'll be
You're
here.
just covering it now.
Okay, 9 o'clock.
Same with 22.
All right, so the motion to approve inmate health services contract, we'll go over that at 9 o'clock. Motion to adopt resolution 2024-15, a resolution by the county of Wayne to direct the expenditures of opioid state settlement funds. We're gonna do 9 o'clock, 9. Maybe we don't meet at 6. Public comments, so each speaker will have 4 minutes, for that. Then we'll go to county manager's report, Board of County Commissioners, committee reports. Mr. Board, we've got closed session.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we've got a few minutes. Let's, do I have a motion to go in closed session?
So move.
All right, all in favor, can we vote? Raise your right hand. All right, unanimous. We asked that everybody would clear the room.
To preserve attorney-client privilege.
Got it. We'll be in closed session. All right, we'll take a 5-minute recess for a 9 o'clock meeting. All right, I'll call our 9 o'clock meeting to order. I apologize for being a little late. We had to run over a little bit there at 8 o'clock agenda briefing. Mr. Hardison, you have an invocation?
Yes, sir.
And pledge.
Please bow your heads, please. Lord, please be in our midst today and every day to lift up our citizens of Wayne County, our leaders, first responders, and servicemen. Please protect our country from the division that challenges our ability to live lives pleasing to you. Please defend the vulnerable and the voiceless, and bring justice to those who have suffered injustice. In Jesus' name, I pray. Amen.
Amen. You got the pledge.
Please stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. In case we have to clear or vacate the building, from here to my right, I go with me out this door. To my left, we go with Carol out this door, and then Chip and I will sweep the floor along with the sheriff. And if you have a medical emergency, Big Dave's at the back. If you need anything, he can take care of it. All right. Now, with that being said, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the May 21st minutes.
So moved.
All in favor, please cast your vote electronically. If not, raise your right hand.
Mine went through, didn't it? Something, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You got it? All right. All right, Mr. Crumpler, do we have adjustments to the agenda?
Yes, sir. Add item 21 under your consent agenda. Purchase agreement with Project Blend for 28.03 acres for Lot 9 of Plat Cabinet L Slide 37E of Industrial Park.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the adjusted agenda for June 4th? Please vote. Do we need to refresh our screens again?
If the vote is not popping up, then that would be yes, but if it's popping up,
Okay, all right. All right, moving on to special presentations, and I will reiterate, you have 6 to 10 minutes to do that. First on the agenda is the presentation of June Wayne County Hero Spotlight Award by Jay's Kitchen. Jay, if you want to come forward, and you'll.
Yeah, in celebration of this well-deserved recognition, Jay's Kitchen is a delight to contribute a special gift to Donna Phillips.
Ms. Donna.
Thank you, Donna.
Oh, thank you very much.
Service.
Thank you.
I'm going to embarrass Donna for just a minute. I've got a couple things I'd like to say about you. Megan's in trouble right now. So I'm honored to acknowledge this extraordinary individual whose selfless dedication to serving others has made a lasting impact on our community. Her name is Donna Phillips, a lifelong volunteer who has touched the lives of many through her work. Donna's passion for giving back is truly remarkable. She has held leadership roles in organizations such as the United Way, Rotary Club, Kiwanis Club, Wayne County Library Foundation, Literacy Connections, and Partnership for Children of Wayne County, just to name a few. Her contributions have been invaluable, and she continues to strive for excellence in her personal giving and role as director of the Wayne County Library. One example is when Donna encountered mothers and children who had escaped to the local domestic violence shelter, trying to take advantage of the facility's laundry and reading room that was in disrepair. Through her efforts, she secured a grant that transformed the space with child-sized chairs, rockers, and shelving. Not stopping there, Donna's Rotary Club and Friends of Library continually supply the shelter with cleaning supplies and books, and she believes that every action makes a difference in someone's life, no matter how small. Just as the library serves as a valuable resource for our community, Donna herself is an asset. She actively participates in projects ranging from initiatives to connect young adults to employment opportunities, to creative aging programs, that provide arts education to older adults. Her dedication extends beyond her role as she collaborates with organizations on whose boards she no longer serves, such as Wages and Habitat for Humanity. The more involved Donna becomes in her community, the more lives are changed for the better, and the more energized she becomes. So it's no surprise that she was recently honored with the Medallion Award for Volunteer Service from the North Carolina Governor's Office. Donna, your dedication and selflessness are a shining example to us all. Thank you for being an exceptional role model and reminding us of the power of giving back.
Thank you. I thought we were here to celebrate Megan this morning, and she's worth celebrating, so let me take 1 minute. Yesterday, we had our opening of the Learning Studio. That's the grant she wrote, so that we could have tutoring free to children who are struggling readers this summer. We're partnering with First Christian Church and our Wayne County Public Schools. So go see Megan and hear about this wonderful program, and she's worth celebrating too. So thank you for this.
Let's get we got to get a picture.
Donna, you and Jay and Ginger come up. Yes, and we'll have Joel get a picture. Have the commissioners maybe stand on it.
Y'all, whoever's wants to come from Jay's.
Yeah, everybody from Jay's.
Get a place, he'll let us know. Look up towards the clock. Believe it or not, he's taking a picture. You're good?
Thank y'all. And Jay, we want to thank your company for recognizing our local heroes. We really appreciate this. Thank you. All right, going on to number 4, motion to approve the 2024 Juneteenth National Freedom Day as presented by Commissioner Antonio Williams. Commissioner Williams?
Thank you. Whereas Juneteenth commemorates the day freedom was proclaimed to all slaves by Union General Gordon Granger on June 19, 1865, in Galveston, Texas. More than 2.5 years after the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation by President Abraham Lincoln. And whereas former slaves in Texas began to observe June 19th as the anniversary of their emancipation and coined the term Juneteenth. And whereas Juneteenth is the oldest national celebrated commemoration of the ending of slavery in the United States, and is also known as Juneteenth National Freedom Day, Emancipation Day, and African American Independence Day. And whereas Juneteenth commemorates the survival, strength, and determination of African Americans through extreme adversity, hardship, and triumph. And today emphasizes African American education, culture, art, history, and achievement. And whereas the 19th of June, along with the 4th of July, completes the cycle of freedom for Independence Day observance in America. And whereas every state, the District of Columbia, and Wayne County recognize the 19th day of June as Juneteenth National Freedom Day to commemorate the end of slavery in the United States and to demonstrate racial reconciliation and healing from the legacy of slavery. Now therefore be it resolved that the Wayne County Board of Commissioners does hereby proclaim June 19, 2024 as Juneteenth National Freedom Day in Wayne County and commend its observance to all citizens. Adopted this day, the 4th day of June, 2024.
Thank you, sir. Do I have a motion to approve the 2024 Juneteenth National Freedom Day?
So approved.
I have a motion. Would you please vote? Mine didn't come up either. Raise your right hand.
Oh, there it is.
All go through? All right. All right, thank you, sir.
I've lost it all.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
All right, moving on to number 5, motion to approve the 2024 Men's Health Week in Wayne County as presented by Commissioner Bevan Foster.
2024 Men's Health Week in Wayne County. Just before I read this, let me say that, been working in mental health for about 15 years now and been working out all my life. A lot of people don't know this. It's a correlation between both. You need to do both, especially as men, just under the stresses of life, family, and everything else. And then the fact that we do neglect our bodies a lot of times with going to the doctor. We feel pain. We're supposed to be tough. We're supposed to be all of these things, and we neglect it a lot of times when we see the certain signs coming, but we don't go and get checked up like we're supposed to. So just remember that as I read this proclamation. Whereas Men's Health Month is part of an ongoing international effort to educate men, boys, and their families about receiving regular disease prevention screenings and living healthier lifestyles. And whereas nationwide life expectancy for men now is averages 5 years less than that of women, with men experiencing higher rates of health problems such as diabetes, obesity, cancer, heart disease, and premature mortality. And whereas the COVID-19 pandemic has had a devastating impact on men's health in the United States, dropping men's life expectancy by 2 years. And whereas Men's Health Month is a time for the public to recognize the mental and physical needs of men and boys, while encouraging fathers to be the role models for their children through preventative health screenings, healthy living, and seeking needed help. And whereas the growing epidemic of suicide and substance abuse requires special effort to raise awareness of the unrecognized and undiagnosed depression and mental stress in boys and men. And whereas the centerpiece of Men's Mental Health Month is National Men's Health Week, a special awareness period passed by Congress and signed into law by President Bill Clinton on May 31st, 1994. Now therefore be proclaimed that the Wayne County Board of Commissioners does hereby proclaim June 10th through the 16th, 2024 as Men's Health Week, adopted this, the 4th day of June, 2024.
Thank you, sir. I have a motion to approve 2024 Men's Health Week in Wayne County.
So moved.
All in favor, please cast your vote. If it don't come up, raise your right hand. I'll refresh mine again then. All right, thank you, sir. All right, next on our agenda is presentation by Ashley Carnegie with Rebuilding Broken Lives. Ms. Ashley.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are y'all doing today?
Good morning.
I'm doing great. First of all, I want to just tell y'all thank you for allowing me to come to introduce myself and my organization to you. It is a privilege to be in front of each and every one of you. Today, I come to present Rebuilding Broken Lives. We are not affiliated with Rebuilding Broken Places. A lot of people ask, am I affiliated with Rebuilding Broken Places? And I am not. Two total different type of entities. Rebuilding Broken Lives was founded by myself back in 2016 after going through some hardships myself of homelessness, being incarcerated, various things that I had to go through in life. And Rebuilding Broken Lives came to me during that time. Rebuilding Broken Lives is built off of, my motto is helping an individual rediscover themselves one day and one step at a time. Because it cannot happen overnight. It does take time. The history, I am a 501c3 nonprofit, privately and publicly supported, faith-based organization that serves the immediate and long-term needs of homelessness, poverty, addictions, and disadvantages men, women, and children. My mission is to break the cycle of homelessness, poverty, and addiction by stabilizing people in a safe and spiritual environment, connecting them to solutions, and walking with them through their journey. I know I'm not able to save every person that has become homeless, every person that deals in the poverty area, but there are those that I'm able to help and help get them to a safe environment, whether it's here in Goldsboro, North Carolina, or any other county that I am connected to. I am also a North Carolina community health worker where I help find sources for individuals that need help. Just on Friday, Fremont, police officer gave me a call. I also work at the DSS in Tarboro, North Carolina. My board member was able to connect with the officer to get a gentleman that was, he was not originally from here. He was here visiting, and some issues took place down in Fremont at the home he was staying at. And I was able to get him a train ticket, a hotel for the night, and able to get him back to his area. There's young ladies and people that call me. I get calls all day and sometimes at nighttime of people that need help, whether it's from homelessness, whether it's being evicted, whether it's needing food, or maybe needing clothes for an interview. I try to help wherever I can help at when there is funds. We know homelessness here is really, really it's kind of overrated, really. You know, you see the people with tents. I have a young lady that I feed that's over there off of Center Street in the roundabout. One of the men let her stay on their property in the tent over there. A lot of times we get calls and we're not able to help them, but we're able to get them help with other counties. I do sit on the board for the North Carolina Homelessness Coalition out of Raleigh, North Carolina, where they can help with various things, but when funds start running low, there's nowhere from people we can do to help them. And a lot of times people that are here in Goldsboro or Wilson or whatever county they call me from, I have to find other resources maybe outside of my county to try to help a person. I have a young lady now that I've been helping since May the 5th. She contacted me once she got out of the hospital. She was being evicted on that Tuesday. They gave her 10 days, but she didn't have nowhere to go, and she was unable to go back home, and she's originally from Florida. Right now, she's in the hospital, and they transferred her to Wilmington, so I'm waiting for her to be coming out, and I'm going to be taking her to Rocky Mount, where I have some homes that are transitional homes for those that have diagnosis with IDD, developmental issues, or diagnosis of mental health issues that County Commissioner Belvin was talking about, even though he was talking about the men. But we all somewhere deal with mental health, and a lot of times when we come across homelessness, they have some type of mental health issue. A lot of times they don't have their Social Security cards, they don't have their ID cards. We try to help connect to get those things that they would need in order to get some type of assistance. I just came here today because a lot of people don't know about me, and when they do know about me, sometimes it's too late because they have ended up on the streets. And we try to do, like I said, what we can to help that individual. So on today, my board of directors, who are Jeffrey DeKaiser, Maisha Brown, Antoinette Brown, Felicia Hayden, Taj Polak, Brandy Matthews, Bonita Jenkins, Carolyn Rich, and Marvin Dew, they are a big help to me when I'm out in this area. A lot of times I'm out here by myself because a lot of them work a full-time job and they work at nighttime and they're not able to help me, so I'm the one that's out there. There's a flyer that I printed off that I do once a month that I go, and it's called Feed the Need. And Feed the Need could be any type of need. I just feed you. Anybody can come. It's a hot meal. It's over there across the street from the Piggly Wiggly. I do get quite a few donations where people help me with the food because it is a hot meal that I do serve. And I do the cooking for that. It's me that do the cooking. It's myself. So I prepare the night before and that morning to be able to feed whoever comes out there. And most of the time we feed up to 100 people that come out there to get food. So I just wanted to come to just introduce, and anytime that y'all can think about or can help with funding or anything, or maybe being a sponsor towards Rebuilding Broken Lives, we at Rebuilding Broken Lives would love to have you. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Miss Ginger, is our application process for the opioids, is it closed? It's closed, okay. I was about to tell you about that application, but it's closed.
All right, thank you. We'll go on to the Appointments Committee. Mr. Harrison.
Yes, we do. We have one appointment today, Mr. Chair. Motion. This comes to you in the form of a motion. Motion to appoint Harley Contreras to the Wayne County Tourism Development Alliance.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor.
I don't have it.
Okay, please raise your right hand. Favor? All right, thank you.
And that's it, Mr.
We
Chair.
got, the ABC with Julie Daniels as well.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Also, we have, I'm sorry about this, Mr. Chair. Motion to appoint Julie Daniels to the ABC Board.
Okay, have a motion on the floor. All in favor, please raise your right hand. All opposed?
Thank you for reminding me, sir.
Yes, sir, thank you. All right, now we'll go on to our 9:30 public hearing. I'll call our public hearing to order. To receive public comment on proposed budget for Wayne County for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2024. Mr. Crumpler.
We open it up to public comment, just a few words. This year's budget totals were $257,444,344 for all funds, with the general fund representing $226,439,927, or approximately 88% of the total amount. In preparing this budget, we used several assumptions. We assumed that the tax rate will be 0.7675. This is a tax increase needed to offset capital improvement projects and inflation of the cost of goods and services. This budget is balanced by minimizing increases to operational expenditures and maximizing growth in revenues. With respect to overall growth, we projected an increase of 1.8% to our ad valorem tax base. We projected a 4.75 increase in our registered motor vehicle tax collections, and assumes a 10% increase in sewer fees, and assumes all operation funds will maintain adequate available fund balances. We also did a 1/3 of our departments on a 3-year rotation as approved last year by our Board of County Commissioners. Assumes a 3% increase in the county's portion of medical insurance premiums. Assumes the premium set aside in our workers' compensation will stay at the same rate of $696 per employee. Assumes proprietary funds for the Maxwell Center and the Jetport will require transfers from general fund. Assumes gasoline will average $3.75 per gallon on the open market and diesel at $4.50. Of course, this budget's takes some time to develop and to prepare, and it was done by a team here, and I'd like to thank that team publicly. Of course, at the conclusion, this budget provides the means to maintain a sound financial practices while also meeting the capital needs to keep the county moving forward. The citizens and the Board of Commissioners of Wayne County expect and demand a level of service, and this budget will help us meet those expectations. I believe this budget also addresses our major goals and objectives that are agreed to by our Board of County Commissioners budget retreat at the Maxwell Center in February of 2024. I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge our numerous hours of staff time that have gone into preparing this budget. I'd like to thank Assistant Finance Director Ann Kelly Moore, Assistant County Manager Ginger Moore, Finance Director Angie Boswell, HR Director Sarah Larson, and IT Director Giorgio Kristev. Of course, copies of this proposed budget were filed in the clerk's office. And of course, we are now here at our public hearing for public comment, and I'll step aside.
All right, Ms.
Thank
Bowden.
you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Anyone sign up, Ms. Bowden?
We have two that have signed up.
Okay, what's the first one?
First being Constance Moore.
All right.
We have some distribute to the commissioners. You have to do that through the clerk, please. Okay, how do we do that? You have to hand it to the clerk. Start the timer.
Good morning, Chairman Gurley, Madam former Chairman, and all other county commissioners. I'm handing you out a little handout because I only have 4 minutes to speak. and I wanted to ensure that I've gotten most of my information in. All right, anyway, I have come to speak today about some concerns I have regarding the budget. To date, I want it to be known that I'm not sure about what is in my budget right now. I send invoices for payments, they get paid. I have no real time to know what is in my budget. I requested a capital improvement plan so that I could work on getting vital records updated in our office. I was not approved for that. I provided several proposals so that we could make a decision what would be best for the Register of Deeds office, but that has not been, nothing has been done there. Education being my primary focus. One of our students has gone and completed a Chamber of Commerce leadership program. Wanting you to know that education has been our most focused position because I have no longevity. So I wanted to make sure that all my staff knew exactly what they were doing and going by the North Carolina General Statutes and learning the correct and proper indexing, as well as any other leadership. Most of my staff goes to the workshops and such, and we're doing very well. After a few weeks of protests, I finally received some invoices from my current vendor, and to date, that report has left me with some profound questions. I did ask that I receive a report from the Wayne County Finance Department a couple of weeks ago, and I was told I would have them in 7 days. I don't have any as of yet. On page 1 of the, page 2 of the report that you have before you, I'm concerned about the $13,615 that I did not approve. I want to know where that money came from. And if it is a conveyance, as the vendor said it was a conveyance that helped the county manager's office. It did not help the Register of Deeds. And as broke as we are, we desperately need that money. Also, I'm concerned about the fact that I was basically forced to sign a conveyance by the former manager and the former accounting director, even though I did not approve it. So I would like to know where those funds came from, and I'd like them returned back to my department. I also see that there's on page 3 of the document, there are 2 payments of $200 that are in, that I do not understand. There's so much more that needs to be said. I would like you to please consider the fact that this is my last year. In this current term, we have not decided upon a vendor next year, and it is time for us to make a decision. I do not approve of our current vendor. That vendor might not even be in business for next year or whatever, and it takes about a year for us to change over. I'd like to thank you so much for your time, and if you have any questions that you might want to see, I'd like to also address the fact that I asked for budget money for a grant, and that money was refused as well. That we're gonna do matching funds. What was done with the previous funding, was renovation of our books. Our books looked like this prior to me coming into office, and they are horrible. They're sticking together. The paper is so thin that you can barely make to reproduce them. Currently, we have taken the time and initiative to put money in our budget so that we will be able to have a little more longevity in our usage. I'd like that you would please come down. Also, we have that one more, what we've done with the grant money, that I did spend every dime of it last year. I was approved again this year, but unfortunately, it was not approved by the council. So I want you to know that we use that money the way we were supposed to, and our books are now to a point that you are able to, I need help over here, gentlemen, somebody. It takes quite a bit of money to get these things done. We are doing the best that we can to keep our records as up to date as possible. We are losing our records. They're not. I'm trying to show them. We're losing our records because we can't reproduce them. They're stuck together. There are people coming for birth records and death records, and we don't have them. We don't have them, or they're so badly damaged, we cannot reproduce them. I'm asking you to please reconsider some of the choices that you have made for the Office of Register of Deeds. And to the citizens of Goldsboro, this is my last year of this current term. I ask that you please allow me to finish the duties that I started. I believe that we have a cohesive environment in the office. I have a survey that I've sent to the attorneys as well as to the funeral homes to ensure that we are able to satisfy our constituents. I thank you so much for allowing me to speak. Do you have any questions?
One question, your grant that you said that you were approved for, but it wasn't approved in the budget. How much was that grant for?
It would have been $4,000 and.
$4,000?
$4,000. And it
Was
would
there
have been
matching?
$4,000 for you all to match the $4,000. So altogether, it would have been $8,000. And I would have been able to preserve some additional books that are desperately in need of preserving.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
Our-
you.
Our next public
We
comment.
have another speaker, Kelvin Gurley.
Morning.
Good morning. I'd like to thank you first for the opportunity and privilege that it is to be here to represent Hope Center Ministries. I serve as a recovery pastor for the Coastal District, which encompasses 3 houses currently in North Carolina, 1 house up in Virginia, and then 2 down in South Carolina as well. We have petitioned for some grant funding to expand our apprenticeship program because as the ministry continues to grow, it is necessary for us to elevate new leadership. We currently have 3 houses here in Wayne County. We are serving about 100 residents currently in a 12-month in-house Christ-based discipleship program with a focus on drug and alcohol recovery. In the 3 years that we have been here in North Carolina, we have made an investment exceeding $5 million from Hope Center into those 3 centers. We have graduated 100 graduates and just a few over, maybe 102 up to this point. We have graduations every month throughout the remainder of the year, so that number is gradually and continually increasing. We also are seeking some funding to provide some scholarship funding for entry into the program. The program is a $700 one-time fee that is either payable by the person coming in or through a scholarship program through Hope for Recovery, or we also have different organizations that will come alongside and help sponsor those individuals. Upon completion of the program, they are returned that $700 in the form of a benevolence check that is paid directly to the individual that is completing the program. We have about a 67% success rate with graduates that are still gainfully employed. Our residents there participate in vocational training once they have been inside the center for about 30 to 45 days. They go out and work with vocational training partners, learning good work habits and ethics and developing skills to help them have gainful employment and a sustainable life after they complete the program. In the 3 years that we've been in operation here in North Carolina, our residents have logged in excess of 100,000 hours of vocational training. So we're very excited for the opportunity to serve our community. We're losing about 1 person a minute nationwide to drug and alcohol overdose. So it is a fast-growing problem, and we're thankful to have the opportunity to be on the forefront, and we gratefully appreciate your consideration in releasing those funds to enable us to continue to do that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Ms. Bowden, we have anyone else?
That's it.
Okay, public hearing is now closed. What's the pleasure of the board in regards to our,
Mr. Chair,
budget? Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the budget as presented by the county manager.
All right, have a motion on the floor.
Mr. Chairman, if we could amend that motion to include the recommendations of staff that we discussed at our 8 o'clock.
No problem.
All right. All in favor, please, cast your vote.
I'm just,
Okay, I'm sorry, go ahead.
after we reviewed the budget last week, there's a couple of things that were concerning to me. Just the amount of money we spending in certain departments that hadn't, personally, in my opinion, been validated. Monies that were spent there. At one point, we said we weren't spending that we're spending now. I think a lot of the different department heads that requested money wasn't approved for whatever reason. Some of the pay raises that weren't approved also. So for me, I'm voting against this budget because I don't like some of the things that are approved that would benefit more people than, $500,000 for something that only benefits 1% of people, so that's the main thing for me. And I think that, we have to do a better job with making sure we're more inclusive of everyone. How can we approve a grant for $1 million with a $100,000 match, but we're not approving a grant for $4,000 with a $4,000 match? That doesn't make sense to me, and it's an enterprise, so the enterprise actually makes money, so it's too much wishy-washy, and we need to be more consistent in what we're doing and what we're approving. So it's gonna be a no for me on this budget.
All right, any other questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
as most of y'all know, I was hoping that we wouldn't have to have a tax increase this year, but due to circumstances, we're gonna have to. But I just want the general public and the taxpayers especially to realize that, we, everything that they go to the store or the farmers go to buy for their crops has gone up. And the same thing has happened to the county. We don't get any breaks. In fact, probably most of the time we pay full price or more. But like I say, I really don't think this is just the year for a tax increase. But after reviewing the budget and going over it with the county manager and the staff, I feel like that we really don't have a choice. But I just wanted the people to know that my concerns is to keeping the tax rate as low as if we can, but we've got to stay in business just like everybody else. So I'm going to vote for the budget, but I just wanted people to know that I'm trying to be very conservative with their money, and but sometimes we just don't have a choice.
Any other questions or comments?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
Unfortunately, I had to weigh the options out as well of the budget, and I see more that the good weighs out, it outweighs the bad, pretty much. There's things I would have liked to see more of our funding go to. I hate to raise taxes, but it's a necessary evil, unfortunately. The past boards before I got here, they didn't raise taxes, and the cost of living is continually going up. We can't, not continue to operate without raising these taxes, and that's the reason why I am voting for this. Thank you.
So any other questions or comments? Well, I will echo what our county manager said earlier. Our budget team spent hours upon hours going through and cut somewhere in the neighborhood after everything was in of about $8 million out. So it's not like everybody's getting everything they want, because they tried their best not to have a tax increase, but some things are out of our control. So that being said, we have a motion on the floor please cast your vote. Is it gonna come up automatic, or do we do?
It should have already, but I'll reset it.
I'd say, well, let's do this right here. All in favor of the budget, please raise your right hand. All opposed, please raise your right hand. All right, thank you. All righty, have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Chair,
Yes, sir.
if you, can we remove the budget amendments off of the consent agenda, if that's not a problem? Because I know I'm gonna vote against it, so I don't know if that's a problem, but the rest of the consent agenda I'm fine with, but not all the budget amendments.
Which,
You can remove it.
okay, so
Which
we're,
one?
You have to have a vote of the board to do
Which one?
the vote of the board to remove the budget amendments?
For individual action.
it. For individual action, yes.
We got to have a,
Isn't that correct? Yeah. Yeah.
okay, so I have a, so do I have a motion to remove the budget amendments?
So moved.
Can we just remove the one budget amendment that you have an issue with?
Well, there's several, so that's why I
Okay.
said.
All right.
That's the ones we went over at 8 o'clock, so. All right, let's, do I have a motion on the floor to remove the budget amendments? All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed?
Can you raise them higher?
All in favor, raise your right hand. All opposed, raise your right hand.
I mean, I don't know if but y'all gonna have to remove it because I'm gonna vote no on the consent agenda. You understand what I'm saying? That's why I asked to remove it for individual action, to make it simpler for everybody. So that vote, we're gonna have to turn around and do that again, because I'm gonna vote no on the consent agenda because of the budget amendments. You do understand what I'm saying, correct?
I understand what you're
Okay.
saying.
It requires a board vote to adjust the agenda.
So if we voted 4 to,
Or
Three.
you turned it down to remove it from the consent agenda.
so if we vote on consent agenda and he votes against it,
He just voted no against the consent agenda.
okay. All right, so the motion passed, to not remove the budget or the, budget amendments. So I'll entertain a motion to, approve the consent agenda.
But you need
So moved.
All in favor, please vote. All opposed, vote.
I already voted.
All right, so motion passes. Are we clear on this, Mr. Borden?
I thought you need a pass, total pass on the consent agenda from all of us. So that's why I asked to remove it. That's been what we've done in the past, so I don't know why
So
we're
Mr.
doing it any different
Mr.
now.
Borden, is this, what we got correct? The way we just voted, is this correct?
That's procedurally correct, yes, sir.
Okay, all right.
So for now on out, let me make sure this is correct. For now on out, I can vote no against the consent agenda and be fine, because in the past, that was something that was said, that you can't vote no against the consent agenda and to pull the items off and vote individually. So which way is correct? So we're making sure legally that we're doing things the right way, because you can't do things one way and then switch it to a different way when it's convenient.
If the board had agreed to remove the budget amendment from the consent agenda, that would have been appropriate. If they didn't, then you can vote against the entire consent agenda if you've got specific problems with some of the budget.
Okay, so that's the rule. So we want to make sure that that's right, because that wasn't what I was told in the past. So I want to make sure. Okay, thank you.
I think in the past, you weren't asking for items to be removed, you were just voting against it. And so there was no discussion about what you wanted to remove from the consent agenda, and the consent is that when it's reviewed at the 8 o'clock hour, if there are any issues, they'll remove items, but
But what I'm saying is, if I still want to vote no, I should have still been allowed to vote no at that time, regardless of whether I wanted it removed or not. I was told that I couldn't vote no during that time. And I shouldn't have to have a vote on it either way. If I choose to vote no on it, I can choose to vote no on it. That's what I'm saying, to make sure it's correct.
That's correct.
See, okay, that's it. Thank you.
We good? All right. All right, so moving on to new business, we discussed a motion to approve a letter indicating Wayne County's intent to enter into a intergovernmental support agreement with Seymour Johnson Air Force Base. Who's Andrew, okay.
Good morning
Good
again.
morning.
This is a new initiative by the new colonel on base. So the base would like to enter into what they call a blanket intergovernmental support agreement. Right now, the city of Goldsboro and Wayne County, we have individual agreements. So for example, the most noticeable one would be the city of Goldsboro on solid waste. They have an agreement for that. There is a federal provision that allows what they call, like I said, the blanket support agreement. And what that means is if we have an existing contract that we've already entered into, if we have this agreement with the base, then the base can utilize those services without having to go through a formal procurement process. So it's a way of basically streamlining a lot of services. So things that we may already be under contract with, we can provide those to the base on quick notice. So the first step of what I've been told is we need to sign this letter of intent. It's not binding you all to anything. All it is we're going to open up that discussion right now. They're going to explore what services we do have and what may or may not work for the base. So they've asked one from the city of Goldsboro, which I understand, I believe I was told they did that last night, one from us, and they're also asking one for the school system. So this is the new initiative of the colonel. I believe he met with some of you all last fall, and it was discussed then as well. So it's just the first step of getting that communication open.
Have any questions? All right, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
All in favor, please vote. All opposed, do the same. All come up. Did it all?
I'm waiting on Mr. Aycock.
Wayne,
Huh?
you in favor?
Yeah.
Okay.
I raised my hand.
All right. Thank you. All right, number 22, a motion to approve inmate health services contract.
Subject to attorney.
Subject to attorney approval, exactly.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So as y'all know, in April, we had put this out for bid. We ended up getting 2 proposals in. Based off of these 2 proposals, we, between a group of myself, Chip, Ginger, Andrew, and Angie, we've gone over all of the proposals, and we are recommending the contract with IMS. The cost of this contract for the first year is $1,322,000, with $160,617 of that being covered under the opioid settlement funds. So that does, we've already gone over the budget. With this, however, I know Sheriff Pierce has proposed putting in a charge to the detention center of $20 for non-emergent services, in addition to a $10 co-pay for medications and prescriptions. With IMS, they have been in North Carolina jails for over 13 years. Currently, this company is ran actually by 2 doctors, and both of them are very experienced in the ER. One of them is actually still currently working in the ER as a medical provider. In addition to that, they are in over 20 in 20 county detention centers, including Caldwell County, Nash County, and Johnston County, which I had spoke to representatives at all of those counties, and they have come highly recommended. Do you have any questions?
Well, thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
was that the best copay we could get for the medication?
The copay, yes, sir, that's what's legally allowed within the state.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions?
And I can explain the financing. To answer your question, that's set by statute, that copay, so you can't exceed that much. Just to add on to what Mandy did, what she already said, so the initial, we were provided 2 different levels of service, 24-hour and 12-hour. We currently have 12-hour right now. So when we saw the proposals, we went back and asked for a breakdown that would allow us to utilize some of those opioid settlement funds. And that's your next action item as well on your agenda. But so we would have 12 hours, 7 days a week, staffing schedule. That's a combination of LPNs, RNs, and then also some med techs or CMAs. And then we would also have a dedicated 40-hour-a-week MAT services. That's medical assisted treatment for opioid-related services. So we'd have a dedicated individual here services for 40 hours a week, and that would enable us to utilize those opioid settlement funds.
Thank you, sir. Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, entertain the motion.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
That's a lot of money. A lot of people ask, why are we spending so much money on our jails? We have to. I am concerned in regards to that obligation on our taxpayers as well. And it's grown tremendously in regards to an obligation for the taxpayers of Wayne County. This is for medical services, and where I have the heartburn is that this has grown so much over the years. Whereas years ago, that obligation of providing medical care to indigent care here in Wayne County was to be borne by the hospital. My understanding is, though, in this case, we cannot rely upon that. I would hope that we would continue to explore that possibility of placing this financial obligation where, in my mind, it belongs, and that is with the hospital. Years ago, the hospital here in Wayne County was owned by the county. The county-operated hospital. And as such, the Board of Commissioners at that time entered into an agreement with the hospital corporation. I think it's called Wayne Health Corporation. Where they would receive all of the property, all of the assets of the hospital to that nonprofit for $0. The only obligation was that the new corporation would provide indigent care here in Wayne County. That was the only compensation for that transfer of that property. That said, this board or previous board had determined that if you were in our jail, you were deemed as indigent. So I think we've established the fact that that obligation may be there, and I think we need to continue to have some discussion. To solve the immediate problem, we need to move forward. So I will be voting for this, but would hope that we would continue to have those discussions with the Wayne Health Corporation. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions or comments? I'll entertain a motion to approve the inmate health services contract with attorney approval.
So move.
All right, please cast your vote. All right, thank you. All right, number 23, a motion to adopt resolution 2024-15, a resolution by the County of Wayne to direct the expenditure of opioid settlement funds. Andrew?
Yes, so this is, if you recall, this is part of our opioid settlement funds that we received through the national litigation. It's governed by the North Carolina MOA that outlines what strategies we can use it for. When we were going through the jail services contract, we identified a portion that could be used, specifically the two strategies, or the one strategy was addiction treatment for incarcerated persons. So that's an enumerated use, and we wanted to go ahead and use this money to fill that budget at least for year one, because it is so much higher than what we anticipated. As an aside to that, we still have that request for applications that closed, and your working group is still reviewing those applications and scoring those. This is a very small portion of the total funding that we've received to date. So I believe it's 2.5 million that we have on hand right now. And again, to remind you, this is being distributed in various amounts over the course of 18 years. So this is an ongoing process. I think when we move to the new jail, we'll get a handle of what our medical services are going to look like at the new jail. Maybe we can budget that appropriately so where we won't have to use these funds in year one, but this is just for that first year of the contract. So the portion that will be going to IMS Correctional is $167,617.60. That's from July 1 of 24 until June 30 of 25. Again, that's addiction treatment for incarcerated persons. And that would cover those 40 hours a week of nursing that they will be providing. The second allocation is also related to those services, so it's $45,000. Again, addiction treatment for incarcerated persons, and this covers the medication portion of it. So generally speaking, this isn't a separate line item in your budget, so this is already funded. IMS Correctional will still secure these, but they will just pass those bills along to us without marking it up. It's just at cost. So this $45,000 is what we've identified just for the MAT portion of the prescriptions. If we get 6-7 months into the year and it gets more, then obviously we could pull more opioid funding if we needed to. But that's the $45,000. So those first two are just for the IMS Correctional. Are any questions on that? I think we've talked about those.
Any questions? All right.
And then the third is something different, so it's unrelated to the jail. We have, JCPC runs a structured day program, and specifically the provider is Prevention and Treatment Center. That's the nonprofit that handles it. They run a summer camp for at-use youth individuals. Recently, we found out the executive director of the organization was Mr. Miles Kelly. As all you know, probably he passed away recently. We recently found out he was funding that program himself, a lot of that. So JCPC came to us and said, you know, in order to have the summer program, we need another $15,000. So when it came to me, this is an approved strategy. It's called early intervention. So it's for at-risk juveniles. And then the budget for that, if I can pull it up. So it would serve, it's based on serving 10 clients. The target population are ages 10 to 18 that have been suspended long-term or short-term and are deemed appropriate for regular school placement. So my understanding is that if this program wasn't in place, these juveniles would be out on the street and wouldn't have anything to do during the summer. So my understanding is it's a very beneficial program. It covers 2 part-time staff, food for the clients, fuel to get them to and from the activities, and then there's an activity cost associated with that. So that's a total of $15,000. It would begin June 24th and then run through August 1st. So it's basically to identify that short-term need to make sure this program happens this summer. So those are the 3 activities covered under the resolution.
All right, does anybody got any questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I think I'd be remiss if I did not bring this and emphasize the fact of the previous director, Miles Kelly Jr. Very few people knew that he, in fact, out of his salary, paid for these services for the summer youth. And we only discovered it after his passing, and we came to the budget and found the dollars were not there. But it speaks highly of his memory of what he has done for the youth here in Wayne County. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Agreed.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I agree with Commissioner Doherty. Miles he was a fantastic gentleman from head to toe. He was very passionate about that program. He didn't, if you didn't know he was involved in it, you wouldn't know it, because he was not one to look in any recognition of what he was doing. Miles Kelly was a fine man, and if I agree with Commissioner Doherty. I mean, his legacy needs to move on.
Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adopt resolution 2024-15, a resolution by the Wayne County of Wayne to direct the expenditure of opioid settlement funds.
So moved.
All right, all in favor, please cast your vote, and against the same. All right, thank you. All right, we go to public comments. We have anybody sign up?
Yes,
So
sir.
you've got one
Oh,
more thing on addition.
Project Glenn.
that was under consent, I think, yeah, okay. All right. All right, do we have, how many we got signed up?
We have two, sir. We have, again, Constance Coram.
All right, she's no longer here.
All right, and then we have Carl Landgren. Lundgren?
Yes.
I said it right.
Formal foot apparel, had a little minor situation this morning. Y'all know I don't usually come dressed like that.
Yes,
Good to
sir.
see y'all today.
Yes, you too.
As you said, I'm Carl Langren, and I just want to kind of follow up with what Commissioner, excuse me, I was at City Council last night. Commissioner Foster said earlier about men's health. And, you know, there's a three-legged stool of psychological and emotional health and spiritual health and physical health. And you know, you take out one of those legs of the stool and it doesn't work very well. I have some good ladies in my life, sister, mom, and wife, who strongly advised me to go see a doctor about 12 years ago. So I went to Duke and the VA, and I have been miraculously cured of leukemia. Praise God. And so, yeah, and thank you for reminding us men that we need to physically exercise more often too.
Yes, sir.
Also, I had not planned to mention this as well, but I'm glad, Commissioner Williams, that you brought up the liberation of slaves. We are at a time, it's no secret or surprise, we're at a juncture right now in this republic of ours where people want to enslave all of us, regardless of skin color or socioeconomic status, religious belief, or whatever. So I rise today to thank y'all for keeping that motto up there and for opening these meetings with prayer. We certainly all individually and as a republic need to pray more often, need to study scriptures, we need to try to live godly lives. And I would just strongly encourage that if there are edicts or mandates or orders or anything else that violates our Constitution and people are trying to say, take that down, not on our watch. And so I don't think I'm going to need 3 more minutes, but just like to, just encourage each of you to encourage your friends, your relatives, your neighbors, people you do business with. Let's pray for our city, our county, this great state that we're blessed to live in and this republic, and pray perhaps even fast and pray as though everything depends on that man right there, and work like it's all up to us, and we will turn this around. We will prevail. Our master wins, and again, just God bless each of you, and thank you for all you try to do. Wasn't planning on speaking about the budget. I will just say that should we enjoy good fortune in 25 or 26, greater prosperity, less crime or what have you, perhaps entertain the idea of a reduction in the tax burden. Because I know, I don't think anybody here is excited about, raising taxes. So, but just if conditions permit, maybe that can be reduced in the fairly near future. But again, God bless each of you for everything that you try to do to help this county and the citizens of this county in all the different ways that you do. God bless the volunteers and ladies who spoke today and with, is it Project Hope, the Hope Ministry, if I have that right. You know, God bless volunteers. We certainly need more of them. And so that's really about it. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
all.
Thank you.
That's it, correct? Ms. Bowden? Okay, all right, going on to the county manager's report.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
did we overlook item 21, the purchase agreement?
That was under your consent agenda.
It was under the consent, excuse me. I had it under new business. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. The county manager's report.
Yes, sir. Just one comment. I thanked our budget team, but I also like to thank our departments for all the work that they put into this, into their individual budgets and as part of a large process. But I also like to thank the county commissioners for your support in reviewing and the time spent. I know you spent a lot of time looking at this budget, going through it, and appreciate your support in that endeavor and working with us to get this done, proposed budget adopted. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, Board of Commissioners Committee reports. Mr. Foster.
No report.
Mr. Hardison.
I've got two comments.
All right.
First comment is about the budget. Folks, I don't like raising taxes, but it had to be done. You know, if you have an infected pinky, you can either cut it off or shade it or lose the arm later on down the road. Number two, we attended the regionalization meeting for the sewer system. I'm glad the county manager was there, the chair was there, and several others from Wayne County. And it was great seeing some of the thinking of the people in that room, the foresight in this to try to move forward. However, I'm deeply disappointed by some of our municipalities who really need regionalization, need to take a look at this seriously and quit being self-centered. They're in a hole now, they're gonna remain in that hole, and they just can't see themselves out. And it's a shame to see these people who are elected not take the consideration of their citizens and the county in consideration. It's really backwards thinking, and there's no, and people that know me know I don't like to talk like this, but they need to get their heads out of their butts, plain and simple. And if you wanna know who, call me.
Thank you, sir.
That's pretty plain.
Ms. Marvel.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Also, about the budget, I want to thank the staff and Mr. Crumpler for a job well done. I went through page by page, and it's hard to vote for a tax increase. Believe me, when you own property and you have to pay that extra tax, you know, it hurts. But to provide the services we need to do for the county and our employees, it's a necessary thing to do. And that's why I voted for it. I took a lot of consideration in it. Like Commissioner Aycock, it's not easy to say, hey, open your pocketbook, and that's what we did. But I want to tell my constituents it was a necessary thing we had to do, and that's all I have.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Wayne.
I agree with what Barbara said, because, I mean, she'll tell you, I said right up front, right to start with, we're not going to have no property tax increase. But after the Chip and the staff started putting the budget together, we were backed into a corner. I mean, I own property, and I don't like the tax increases, but just remember, there's only one thing that Wayne County can offer to its citizens, that is service. That includes EMS service, sheriff department, solid waste, the fire departments. It's the only thing that we can provide to citizens is the services. We can't make your house payment, we can't pay your light bill, but we're obligated to provide those services. And all of those services, as the population of Wayne County increases, the cost of running each one of those departments goes up. I can remember when we had 5 rescue squads in the county, and right now I think we're running 12 crews right now, and the call volume is, you know, at some point we're probably going to put another crew on. But I just want to commend our first responders, whether it's EMS, fire, law enforcement, a lot of that service is provided that it's not costing you a whole lot, and all of them, all the departments that are involved in first responders, they're very dedicated to their work. Our 911 call takers and dispatchers, they're not doing it for the money, I can tell you that. And that's something else in the future, budgets that I want to address is our employees. We have some great people working for Wayne County. And that's all, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Mr. Daughter?
Well, let me say it too. I definitely don't like raising taxes either. No one does. If anybody was sitting in these chairs, they would say the same thing. But I'm gonna give you two items. And by the way, this is our budget. Two items. Our schools, we increased our funding to our schools for over $1 million. Two, just today, we saw that the cost to provide medical services to our inmates are $1.2 million. There's your 2.5 cents in increase. And that was just two items. There were a lot of other items here, whether or not it's an increase in regards to the state retirement system. That was a huge increase. Just one thing right after the other. So I think we were extremely fortunate to keep our tax increase at 2.5 cents. We saw last night in regards to the City Council of Goldsboro having an increase of 15 cents. So the staff has just done a remarkable job of finding the cuts that were necessary in order to limit this to 2.5 cents. So kudos to our county manager, staff for doing a great job. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Mr. Williams?
Yes, in regard to the budget, yes, like I said before, it's a necessary evil. We got a lot of things that are happening. My colleague just mentioned the schools and the health that our jails currently are needing. But we also have the DSS and Health Department. We're having brand new facilities built right now. That's costing us, money, but it's going to help us in the future. We also have to continue to operate our departments here at the same time. So, 2.5, I don't think that's that much for what we're getting in the future. Another thing that I want to touch on, I had a constituent from Mount Olive, and I'm not beating up Mount Olive, but they bought a property. And once they bought the property, no one told them that they wouldn't be able to hook up to city water and sewage. And that is so unfortunate. Not only did they buy the property, they renovated, they put tons of money into it. And the only suggestion that they could make is that they needed to get a septic tank. Well, guess what? They couldn't even get a septic tank in that particular property.
So they big enough.
Yeah. So, Mount Olive, the great community that it is and it can be, I see great potential in Mount Olive. However, we must figure something out. And we can't just sit there and let Mount Olive just deplete. And that's what's happening right now. Whatever feelings you may have for the county, that's my district, and I care about that particular area. So we got to figure something out. The regional approach is probably the best approach that we could have with water and sewage. Secondly, I want to thank all of the young people who got an opportunity this year to work with the summer employment program. That program is something that this board and myself, we know is vital to keeping our kids out of trouble. They get in trouble in the summertime more than any time of the year. So the program is growing. I hope that it continues to grow. And I hope that the kids get something great out of this program. I want to thank the county manager and the staff and our whole team for putting this budget together. I know it wasn't easy. And lastly, I got a chance to attend Goldsboro Parks and Recs. They're going to be having a demolition. They got approved. Wiley Nichols, he came down from DC with a check to demolish the old building that is contaminated. And hopefully we'll see something in the future that's going to be even better than what we have there currently. We had Representative Bell, he was there. We had U.S. Congressman Don Davis there and Wiley Nichols, and we had the city of Goldsboro and mayor as well. And I think it was a good touch. Congressman said that he's also trying to get $1.5 million to stabilize the old Union Station, which will help us tremendously because this board has advocated for Wilmington to Goldsboro train service and have given me the opportunity to travel back and forth to DC to advocate for it as well. So I think that's a good, we have some good elected officials that are really trying to help Wayne County. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm not going to be redundant on the budget stuff. I will say this right here. I was not in favor of the 2.5 cent. I told Chip that I'd love to try to do it without it. But as they went through it and, he come up, he said, we've cut, $8 million of department's request, or some of them pushed down the road. And then everything coming about and, some obligations that we had committed to, there was just this was just the section that we had to go down for is the 2.5 cent. So the whole budget team, and there was a lot of hours put in, as I said earlier, and we appreciate it. The Commissioner Williams just touched on the sewer, and I've preached this since day one, and I talked about this 20 years ago, that Wayne County needs to be in the sewer business. And like I told you, I was told by one of my elders that, son, we can't afford it. Well, we could probably come near affording it back then than what we can now, because back then it was $2 or $3 a gallon. Now it's about $30 a gallon for a plant. So that is something economically, if we want to keep our children here and have them to have good paying jobs, that is the key to keeping our children in Wayne County. Because that's the only way that we can get economic investment in here is through having the sewer option. Summer employment, there again, that was a brainstorm of Commissioner Williams, and the board agreed several years ago to explore it, and it's been a big success. I look at it as as he said, kind of keep children out of trouble during the summertime, but it also gives them the opportunity to explore different fields that they can go into, instead of wasting time in college going for one thing and figuring out by the time they get done that they spent $120,000+ of the mom and daddy's money that I don't really want to do that, or that ain't my thing. I will say this, my oldest one went to school to, she said, I think I want to be a nurse. So she went and got her CNA, and she's been doing that for several years. Decided that's what she did want to do that. She's got into nursing school. So she is, but she said, I want to make sure before I spend a lot of y'all's money, which I appreciated that, that this is what I want to do. So that being said, that's also, I look at it as them making sure that's what they want to do in life. And that gives them the opportunity, gives them just a little window of saying, this is what it is. The other thing is, we look around, we've got an aging we go to aging, employment into a county. So that also gives us the opportunity to, hey, come to, see how you like, working for the county or for the government. It is being in business for yourself, like I am, Joe, and Wayne, several of us up here were. Sometimes that guaranteed check with that retirement that is put forth is a big plus, because we have to make our retirement. And sometimes that's not as easy as people think. But anyway, that's, all that being said, I appreciate the hard work of our county employees. We've got some dedicated employees. We've got some very professional, hardworking, dedicated people, and we're doing everything we can to try to keep them here and keep them happy. So, Mr. Borden, do we have more closed session?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I did have one other comment.
Okay.
I wanted to give a shout out to my granddaughter who is graduating Friday and will be attending Campbell University in the fall. Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I'm glad you reminded me. I want to give a shout out to my niece who has just she's at 15 going to a prestigious college in New York, and she's got a full ride, and she's on the equestrian team as well. So, Leilani Hamilton, congratulations, and we love you.
All right. And one more thing before we go into closed session, we won't be here before this, so wish everybody a happy Father's Day coming up on the 16th. So now, Mr. Borden, have we got some more closed session?
Yes, sir. To consult with your attorneys to have attorney-client privilege, to
All right.
preserve attorney-client privilege.
Entertain a motion to go in closed session.
So move.
All in favor, please raise your right hand. All right, thank you. All right,
I'm like Bevan, I ain't gonna be there.
meeting adjourned, June 4th.